Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
And we would like to start our session with a concept called as subnetting. This is very important concept. Exam perspective for CCNA. This is very important concept you should understand. Now, there are three major things which you need to understand when we go about subnetting. In real life, practically, you are not doing this task at all. Okay. You might be getting someone already subnetted the network and give it to you. However, we should know how he did it, correct? And exam perspective, yes, this is very important topic where there are almost 4 or 5 questions in a CCN exam. They will ask you about subnetting, correct? Now, everybody should look to this particular topic very carefully. Little bit confusing because a lot of mathematics are involved in this, correct? But I will make it very simple and straightforward. There are multiple methods are available to do the same task. The one which I am using, it is very straightforward, very easy to understand, and very effective than what type of subnetting you want to do it actually, correct? So our first agenda is to understand subnetting. However, before we understand subnetting, there are few things which we need to understand in prior, correct? Now, yesterday we have seen different IP classes, correct? What is the class A IP address start? What is the starting point? Can anybody tell me in the chat window? What is a class A IP address? Yes, officially it is 0 to 127, but practically we should start with 1 to 126. Correct. Correct. This is what practical usable. Though now, why we cannot use 0? We cannot assign a 0 to any particular machine. 127. This entire network is for what? Loopback. Correct. It is already assigned. So I cannot assign any IP with these two set of numbers. Correct? Agree? Now, what is a rule which is configured, or what are the rules which is applied for class A? How many bits are for network and how many bits are reserved for your host? Means, what is a bit calculations? Kindly put it on the chat. How many bits are reserved? Absolutely right. Thank you, Chaitra. It's 8 bit for network and yes, absolutely fine. 24 bits for host. Correct. So 8 bit is assigned for the network side and 24 bits are assigned for the host. Correct. Now, under this particular class, which private IP address is completely free for you? What is the private IP address? I told you that private IP address is the IP address which you can use within your organization to transfer the data inside a private network. Correct. Public IP address, that IP address help you to connect your devices to the internet. Absolutely fine, Divya. Absolutely fine, Kalvani. Correct. This is very, thank you, Deepika. Absolutely right. So 10.0.0.0, this is the IP address which I can use in my organization. Capgemini may be using this. I don't know. But this is the private IP address which I correct. Thank you, Lakshmi. Very important thing. Correct. Now, whenever I'm talking about class A, I'm talking about any private IP other than this, whatever IP address which will come, it is comes under the category called as public. Correct. Public IP is actually paid. You guys are paying, not you're not directly paying to ICANN, but you are paying to your internet service provider for internet connectivity. At the same time, ultimately you're paying for that your public IP address. Correct. Now the next class which we have seen, it's a class B. What is the range in class B? 128 to 191. Correct. Now, how many bits are reserved for network and for your host actually in this case? 16-bit for network and 16-bit for host. Correct. What is the private IP address range is given to you over here? Okay. The private IP address range would be given to 172.16.0.0 to 172.31.0.0. Correct. Correct. So this is the private.
255.255.
You can say 255.255. Absolutely fine. So this complete entire series of the IP address would be given to you to use it privately. Other than this would be a public. Correct. Now class B is the most appropriate class of network which many organizations are actually using in their local area connections. Okay, we'll see how. Class C. Now, what is the range? 192 to 223. Correct. 24 bits are for network side and 8 bits for host. Absolutely correct. And the private IP address would be 192.168.0.0 to 192.168.255.255. Correct. This would be considered as a private, and the rest of the thing would be considered as public. Absolutely right. Thank you, everyone. So this is what we have seen yesterday. Correct. Now today we need to dig down more in order to understand subnetting what else we can do it? People say, sir, it is just a number. Why we are paying so much attention to this? To be honest with you, this number is very important. Without this number, you won't be able to transfer your data. Nobody can identify you. This is an address for you. We do have a postal address for our home. Similarly, this would be an address for you, whether it's a private, whether it's a public. Without an IP address, the communication won't start, because you can see even you're doing day-to-day task, whether you're doing it locally or whether you're doing it over the internet, you're using IP addresses, correct? Your computers take those IP addresses, convert it into the binary, and then it will proceed. So you should know that, to be honest, this is a logical number, but it plays a very, very important role in networking, correct? So let's understand two more concepts regarding IP addressing before we actually jump into subnetting. The first thing we need to understand that, okay, in class A, I do have the option that I can create a host which is 2 raised to 24, which is a very, very huge number. You can see if I want to use a class A network, and if I have too many computers across the globe, I can use it, but it is still a very, very big number. It is almost 16 millions, correct? So this is a very, very big number which we can use it, correct? In class B, we do have the option that we can go up to 2 raised to 16. That is a very fair number which we are getting over here, 65,536. This is the appropriate number which I can use in my organizations as well. Okay, even 65,000, it's a very big number, correct? And the last but not the least, 2 raised to 8. That is nothing but the class C number of IP address, that is 256 IP address would be coming out from this particular 2 raised to 8, correct? Now you can imagine every IP address which is generated from this formula, correct? These IP addresses are fixed, correct? These IP addresses are fixed. You cannot increase it. Whatever class A total IP address 2 raised to 424 into how many networks we have? 128, 0 to 127, correct? So whatever these numbers are fixed, and imagine our entire internet connectivity currently, okay? Everybody look for the IP address. Everybody require the IP address if you want to go to the internet, correct? So in that case, I need to manage this IP address properly. I do not want to waste this IP address at all. Whatever I required, only that number of IP address I should use it, correct? Because these numbers are fixed, and I know that class A, class B, and class C, these are the only classes which we are giving for usage. Class D and class E, it's completely reserved. Class D is used for multicasting purpose. We will see that. Okay, but you cannot assign class D IP address to your computer or devices. Similarly for class E as well. You cannot assign it. It is for research and development for the IP address. So these numbers are fixed. So our primary goal in network or network infrastructure would be try to save as much IP address as you can. Now people say, sir, anyhow the private IP address is free. Why we want to save it? No. If it is free, I'm trying to say save it means try to utilize it properly. That will avoid few things which is coming next to your network problems. Correct? So if it is free, that's fine. But still you have to make sure that the utilization of that IP addressing should be properly done, because to manage this IP address also a very, very important task. So subnetting help us to manage and properly use these IP addresses. This is our first and important concept you should understand before we start. Correct? Now let's understand two more things in subnetting. Okay? Now, we'll delete this.
Hey viewers, our Master in DevOps engineering program can help you to hone the skills necessary to succeed in high-level DevOps positions. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now and earn certification that show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Here is this. The first thing you need to understand before we actually jump into subnetting, we should understand what is a network ID and what is a broadcast ID. Okay. For example, now this is applicable to every network which you are using, class A, class B, class C, whatever networks which you have, correct? Every network do have some network ID. Network ID means the number which can identify as a network, the entire network as an identity. Broadcast ID means a number, a unique number, which we can use to broadcast the entire data to that entire packet. I cannot do the broadcasting to one by one computer. I will do the broadcast message to one single IP address. That would be considered as a broadcast ID, and he will broadcast that entire message to all the devices within that network. So every network, okay, they should have one network ID and one broadcast ID, correct? If you see, I'm taking the example of 192.168.1.0. This is my typical class C IP address, correct? Now in this IP address, if I say how many number of host I can use it, that is 2 raised to 8, correct? That is 2 raised to 8 means 256. These number of IP address which we can use. But just now I told you I should have one network ID and one broadcast ID for this network. Okay, so practical usable IP address would be what? 2 raised to 56 minus 2. Now why this minus 2? Because one IP address for network ID and one IP address broadcast ID which is reserved, which you cannot assign to any computer, because that would be act like a network ID and broadcast ID for 192.168.1.0 network, correct? Now if I start writing what is the range of the IP address of this network, my first IP address would be 192.168.1.0 and my last IP address would be 192.168.1.255, correct? The all 256 IP addresses would be within this range, correct? Now which would be network ID? Remember guys, the first IP address of your network, remember, the first IP address of your network or any network, remember it. Network ID means the first IP address of the network would be your network. Remember that. So we cannot practically use two IP address for any network, because the first IP address would be considered as network ID for that entire network. My network could be identified with network ID, and the last ID, which is this one, 192.168.1.255. This is the last IP address of that network. This would be called as broadcast ID. So the first number and the last IP address, we cannot use it or we cannot assign it to any particular machine, because they do have a special purpose. One could be act like a network ID, and this could be act like a broadcast. So what is a usable, or what is the official range which we can use in this network? Okay, the official range which we can use in this network would be 192.168.1.1 to 192.168.1.254. So these IP address I can use it to assign two devices. Correct? This is very, very important. Okay. Now this is network ID and broadcast ID. Correct. Now, because what we are doing for every network, now whatever network which we have seen the three type of network. What is the class A? Okay, the class A, what is the subnet mask of it? It's 255.0.0.0. Correct. Similarly, what is the class B? 255.255.0.0. Correct. Class C, 255.255.255.0. This is a subnet mask of that particular classes. So whatever class of the IP address, network ID and broadcast ID concept is same. There is no change in this particular concept at all. If I take the IP address of 10.0.0.0 to how much I would go? 10.255.255.25. Correct. So what is my network ID? 10.0.0.0, it's my network ID. And what is my broadcast ID? 10.255.255.255. Anything in between this would be considered as my usable number which I can connect with my devices. Same thing for my particular class B, 172.16.0.0 to whatever last number which we are getting. First and last number for every network would be reserved. You cannot use it. One is for network ID and second one is called as broadcast ID. Remember that. Correct? Okay, I agree. I agree. No doubt about that. We understand the concept called as what is a network ID and broadcast ID. Correct. One more thing you need to understand before we proceed. Okay. Now there are two important concepts. One is called as classful network. One is called as classless network. Okay. Classless network can also be considered as subnetted. Okay. The classful network means the network without subnetted. Okay, whatever network which we have seen. I will tell you one important method over here. There is a method called as CIDR. Okay, this is a classless inter-domain routing method. This is called as CIDR method. Correct. This is an allocation of IP addresses and IP routing method is defined. Okay. In a simple term, read this document very carefully. It's a very interesting document. Whenever we are talking about any classful network, that means a network without subnetting, correct? It would be considered as a classful network. For example, my classful network would be this 192.168.1.0. This would be considered as my classful network. Why it is saying that? Because I'm using the entire block of the IP addresses. I'm not divided this network to any small chunks at all. Correct. I'm simply using the entire IP address block. So this is called as classful. Correct. In CIDR method, okay, classless inter routing domain. There is a method to write this thing. Now, what is the subnet mask of this? It is 255.255.255.0. Correct. Now, in CIDR, how we are going to write it? 192.168.1.0 slash 20. Correct. Now, what is this slash 24 would identify you? The slash 24 is nothing but these are your network bits. Correct. If I go to any IP address 172.16.0.0, correct. What is my default subnet mask? This is also a complete classful network because I'm using the complete IP address range. Correct. By default subnet mask would be 255.255.0.0. Then how I can write it down into the CIDR method? 192.168.1, sorry, it's 170.16.0.0 slash 16. Once again, what is this 16? This 16 is nothing but my network bits. Same thing for class A IP address. Correct. Class A IP address by default subnet mask would be this. And how do I write it down in a CIDR method? It would be like this. Correct. So CIDR is a calculation and IP allocation method that will make your life easier for your subnetting. That's why it is say classless inter-domain routing. Correct. Now we are going to see classless when we are doing subnetting, which is not classful. So here is the idea. What is a classful? If I'm taking the entire bunch of the network without a subnetting of it, I would say this is my classful network. Any given point of time, if I divide this network into the smaller chunk, or I get a network segmentation, then I would say this is a classless network. Correct. And there is a method called as CIDR that will help me to denote this particular network in this particular format.
Hey viewers, trying to get into DevSecOps? Enroll for our DevSecOps certified professional programs and earn the certification that shows you are fit for these technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
So CIDR is the most appropriate method which you guys are using in order to tell your system how many network bits are assigned. This is a network bits, correct? So you might be able to see in some cases in your organization, you might be getting IP address and slash some number. Whatever number you are getting after the slash, that is nothing but your network bits, correct? Even I told you that if you take your subnet mask, you know what is the mechanism of the subnet mask is, because classes is a theoretical thing. How do I make sure that how many bits are masked for the network and how many bits are for host? If I would like to tell this thing to my computer, I should have some mechanism to be implemented, correct? And that mechanism is nothing but my subnet mask. Subnet mask is a mechanism who can help my particular computer to understand how many bits are masked for the network and how many bits are there assigned for the host. Similarly, in a classless network, there is subnet mask, no doubt about it. But there is another method to display or write the classless network, and that is called as CIDR, correct? So in a simple term, what you need to understand, classful means a IP address network without subnetted would be considered as a classful network. Classless network means a network which is subnetted or subnetted as per your requirement would be considered as a classless network. What is CIDR? CIDR is nothing but classless inter-domain routing. It's a method. It's an allocation method which is available in IP addressing. The agenda of this method to display and convince your IP addressing and their network bit to be displayed like in this particular format, correct? So this is also very important before we jump into subnetting. You should know what is classful, what is classless. Subnetting is actually the method to create a classful network into classless, correct? That's clear. Now the third point, we know that our computer is only understand the concept called as binary. Whatever decimal number which you are typing as an IP address, finally my computer will convert it into binary. This is the idea, correct? Now, in subnetting or in IP addressing, 0 would be considered as host bit. Correct? If I put a 0, it would be considered as host bit. And if I consider 1, it would be considered as network. Remember that this is also very important. I can type the binary number, no doubt about it, correct? Now, binary number would be something which my computer can understand, correct? Now, with respect to subnetting, my 0 number would be assigned for the host bit and 1 in a binary would be assigned for the network, correct? So if I say 192.168.1.0, correct? Now this is my network, correct? The first 3 would be my network because in class C, what is my network ID? First 24 bits. So if I represent those network bit in the form of my particular binary number, it would be something like this: 8 times ones, 8 times ones, 8 times ones. I'm just talking about network bit, okay? Because this is my network, correct? And finally, I do have my host, but I'm not doing conversion of 192.168, but I'm doing the conversion of 255.255.255.0, correct? This 255 is nothing but my network ID. This 255 would be my network ID. This 255 would be my network bit. And what is last? Last would be my host bit. So remember, in terms of subnetting, if I say 0, right, that 0 is assigned for host bit, and if I say 1, it would be assigned for your network, which is a fixed, So I'm converting this subnet mask because this is a mechanism to tell my system how many bits are for the network and how many bits are for my host. This is the binary interpretation of it. Correct? As I told you, it is not going to write it down now, right like this. It has to be right like this. So I don't need to worry about this subnet mask. Correct? My computer will handle it. Only the display representation method would be CIDR method if I'm going for classless or classful as well. No problem. So this is also very important aspect that you should understand what is a host bit representation and what is a network bit representation. If I want to convert 192, that is something like this. This is the whole journey would be something, but subnet mask would be represented in this particular form. Correct? So this is the third point you need to remember. Now let's actually start doing this. Correct? To be honest, some people ask me subnetting means dividing the entire network means exactly what? Now there are two different terms. Sometimes people say it is a network within a network or logically divide the IP addresses. Correct? Now here people are confused. So network within a network means what? Now first of all, understand what is a problem if I don't have subnetting. Okay, why we require subnetting, or you can say problems without subnetting. If I don't have subnetting option, what would be the problem? Well, let's take a simple example. Let's say I do have two routers. Okay, I will have one router over here, router number one. This is my second router, correct? Now these two routers are actually my offices or something, whatever you can say, correct? I do have connection between these two routers. Okay, so in simple manner, I'm actually telling you what is a problem in enterprise network. Router 1 and this is router 2. Correct. Now every router do have interface. Now, what is interface on the router? Interface on the router means entry and exit point. Now sometime exit point would be the same, but there are multiple entry point and exit point for your local area connection. Maybe I do required some, let's say I do have some small network over here. There is a small network over here. There is another small network over here. Here is also small network. Here is also small network. Here is also small network. These all are my LAN, local area connection, correct? And all the local area connections are connected through the switch to my router. So these are all LAN. Now the point where your local area connection is connected over here, this would be considered my interface, which is serving my local area connection. Now there is a thumb rule for such kind of implementation. Okay, so what are those? These are all LAN. This is my LAN. Remember that. I'm not talking about any single computer, not single switch. It is my complete LAN. I don't know how many computers are connected, but every LAN, if it is attached to the router, the point where it is attached to the router, it would be considered as interface. So this would be considered as interface. Correct? This is my interface. Now, there is a thumb rule in such kind of scenarios that my interface, every interface of the router. Now, this is also one of the interface, but this is called a serial interface. Correct? So I do have this interface. I do have this interface. I do have this interface. Correct? Similarly, I do have the interfaces over here also. Okay, so if I say this is also the interface, this is also the interface, this is also the interface, this is also the interface. Every interface which you are using in your router, every interface do require separate network. Remember that this is mandatory procedure. My router will not allow a single network to be assigned. Every interface on the router should serve different networks. For example, if I say I have the IP address scheme 192.168, correct? Sorry, my writing is not so much brilliant with the help of this pen. But let's say this is my network which I'm using, and I do have some requirement in this particular LAN. I cannot use the same IP address scheme or network to this interface at all. So here, even within this particular company, I required multiple networks to be configured. Correct? I can configure multiple networks, no problem, no issues, because I do have free IP addresses which we can use internally within the organization. Correct? But the problem is, I told you, you have to make sure that this is my first limitation, that router will not allow a single network to be configured on all the interfaces. Every interface should have a different network and IP addressing scheme. This should be say 10.0.0.0. It could be, I don't know, but it has to be like that. This is how our routers are working in this particular format. Every interface should have some separate IP addressing scheme. Correct? Interesting. So here is the problem. This is the first problem. How many IP addresses I need to configure? Correct? This is the first problem. Why we required subnetting to be done? Because I need to make sure that I should use the IP addressing properly. If I doing something like this, it's something I required huge number of network. If I want to purchase a public network, then I need to pay, correct? But I want to use the private network or a private IP addressing appropriately. That will solve my purpose. So this is the first problem which we can identify, that yes, I required some technique that will help me to divide my network into the smaller chunk. Correct? Now, second problem. Now, this is the first problem where I would be able to require multiple networks in order to configure my entire thing. Second thing, by any chance, if I configured a single IP address, okay, for example, we delete this. Okay, we will delete this, no problem. Okay. This is a problem without subnetting. I need to make sure that every IP address has to be a class full. correct? And every IP address, whatever interfaces which I want to connect to the router, every interface should have a unique network ID or unique IP addressing scheme, which is not used anywhere on the same interfaces. This is very important aspect. Second problem would be if I say this is my work location, okay, and if I keep giving a single IP addressing scheme. For example, my requirement is I require 30 computers for admin department, 20 computers for IT department, 10 computers for marketing. Correct? So in my office itself, my office do have a very different departments. Correct? Every department do have their unique work.
Hey viewers, are you looking for formal training on SRE practices? Take our SRE program. This course will teach you how to successfully implement site reliability engineering in the modern day 24/7 services. Kickstart your SRE training today. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
And if I create a big network and I will take all this department under that particular network, correct? Then it would be difficult for you to manage those IP addresses. Correct? So, and technically there is a security compromisation that if I'm using a single IP address for my entire network, it is problematic. Yesterday we talked about VLAN, correct? And there should be some technique. If I say I'm using this entire IP address series to assign the IP address to these 30 computers, this 20 computer, this 10 computers. So ultimately my IT department, my marketing department, my management should be under same network. That means there is a chance of security compromise. Correct? Yesterday we talked about a concept called as collision domain and broadcast domain. Collision domain is something which I told you that small networks needs to be created under layer 2. And within this small network, my entire network who is controlling all this collision domain would be considered as a broadcast domain. This is what exactly we are trying to do. I want to split my network into the smaller chunks. So it would be a single collision domain. Correct? So why should I have all these computers coming under same umbrella, under the same IP addresses? I should do it like this. I should create a small chunk as per the requirement whenever you require. That will help me to properly use the IP addresses and utilization of the IP addresses would be done properly. So subnetting help me to do this. Subnetting help me to make sure that the IP addressing should be done in a proper fashion. Correct? So subnetting is nothing but dividing a single network in logical multiple parts. Okay, we will see how. Correct? So this is a problem without subnetting. If you do not subnet it, the manageability and usability, there is a security compromisation. So there are multiple things are available if you do not do the subnetting. You need to have different type of network should be there. Now I'm talking about LAN as well as router side. At router side, you required every single interface should have a unique IP addressing scheme over there. Correct? So subnetting help us to solve this problem. Now let's see how. Correct? Now we will take one example over here. For example, we will take a class C example. Let's say I do have a class C. Okay, this is my class C network. And let's say my company told me, okay, do things. You should use a class C IP address, and this is the IP address or you should use 192.168.10.0. Okay. Now I know that how many total number of computers I can use it over here. 256 minus 2. Actual uses would be 254. Am I right? This is the actual uses. But I want to divide this network into the smaller chunks now. Correct? The default subnet mask would be correct. So this is a class C IP address. By default, he is giving me 256 IP addresses. Out of that, two I am cannot using. One is a broadcast, one is a network ID. The actual uses would be 255. The default subnet mask would be 255, 255, 255. The default CIDR notation would be something like this. Correct? So if I consider this IP addresses and my manager said, okay, let's divide this IP addresses into the smaller chunk. Correct? He said, you know what? My requirement for per department would be 40 IP addresses. I should require 40 IP addresses per department. Okay, I said okay. And how many networks you required actually? Correct? How many networks you require? Now I said it's up to you how many networks would be created. Okay, but my requirement would be host specific. Now there are two different way we can do the subnetting. The subnetting according to your host requirement or according to network requirement. Either now I'm talking about only single network. Now I'm going to divide this network into two parts. Correct? That is called a subnetting. My maximum number would not change. Rather, I'm dividing this number into the smaller chunk. Currently, I do have only one network. In this one network, I do have this particular number of IP address. Now I'm logically dividing this number into smaller chunk. So I will get multiple number of networks, and within that number of networks I will get multiple IP addresses. Now that could be done either according to the host, means how many IP addresses you require. Subnetting can also be done according to the network, how many networks you required within this particular IP address. Correct? So we will do it according to host. So my manager say, you know what, you have to create 40 IP address per network. I required 40 I'm talking about 40 IP address per network. I said okay, you require 40 IP address per network. That means I need to divide this class C in a such a way that I should get 40 IP address. Now this is a required host which we required. Correct? This is my problem statement. My manager said, look, this is the IP address scheme which we have and 40 IP address per network which we require. So we are working on according to host. Host means how many IP address you require. I said, okay, no problem. Now how we are going to do this? Correct? Now you can imagine how many bits are assigned over here. No, sorry, it's not 0, it's 24. Okay, by mistake it is happened. Okay, it is /24. This is something mismatch. Okay, we will retype it. Okay, so it is written in this format 192.168.1.0/24. Correct? We know that in class C, how many bits are assigned for the network? 24. we do not going to touch anything on this network bit at all. Okay, so this network bit is something which is fixed. We don't need to bother about it. So I can simply say, okay, 192.168.1, which is completely fixed. Correct? What we are interested, the last part of it, which is nothing but host bit. How many host bit are there? There are 8 host bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the host bit I am going to require. Correct? I'm not going to change anything on the network bit side. This is a 24 bit for the network. Correct? Now, let's understand how much required host which I required. 40 IP addresses are required. Okay. Now let's find out which formula can help us to reach to this particular point. If I say, if I go 2 raised to 1, is it going to serve the purpose? No, it is just a 2. How many I required? 40 IP addresses. Can I do 2 raised to 2? No, it is 4. Can I do 2 raised to 3? It is 8. Correct? 2 raised to 5. Correct? What you are actually doing, you are actually trying to make sure that which ratio would be able to serve your purpose. I will say 2 raised to 1. Is it required 40 hosts? No. 2 raised to 2. Is it going to have 40 hosts? No. I required host required. Correct? So the first thing is host required is what? 40. And who is going to do that? 2 raised to 3 means 8. 2 raised to 4 means 16. Still it is 40 actually. Then 2 raised to 5, it's 32. It is still not there. Then 2 raised to 6. Yes, this could help us because I'm getting here 64. And that is way ahead actually. I'm getting 24 more IP address, but I serve my purpose. So you can see 2 raised to 6. If I do 2 raised to 6, I would get 40 IP addresses over here, or more than 40, but it is not 32. Correct? Because 2 raised to 6 means 64 minus 2. Correct? Minus 2 is what? Network ID and broadcast ID. Correct? So if I say, if I go to the 6th bit, I will able to get my number of hosts which I required. So I will say this would be considered as my host bit. So required host, I can say, so the formula is something, right? My required host is 40. Correct? This is what we required. And I'm able to get this host bit, I will say H, if I go 2 raised to 6. Correct? Now we need to find out, okay, I got the host bit. Okay, I would go to the 2 raised to 6. So host would be 2 raised to 6. So H would be my host. If I go to the 6th bit, if I occupied the 6th bit, I would be able to get the required host. So this is 6, not 2 raised to 6. It is just a 6. Now I would like to find out the converted network bits. Now there is a formula, converted network bits. Correct. Now converted network bit means your total host, okay, minus required host. Okay. Now how many total hosts which we have in our particular networks. Total host bit we have only 8. Last. Remember that this is host I'm talking about. This is a network bit. Only last bit which I required, it is a host. Correct? So total host bit, you can say. What is the total host bit? And how many you required? You required 6 bit. If I say subtraction over here, then I will get the value called as this is my network bit.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.